In a year like no other, it's a trainer's dinner like no other. Brought to you by the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association. The Kentucky Derby Trainer's Dinner is virtual this year, but hopefully the laughs and honest answers will come straight through you through the magic of Zoom. And I'm very pleased to kick this off with a bang. We're going to hear from a lot of Derby participants, but first, the 5-time Kentucky Derby winner, 2-time Triple Crown winner, National Racing Hall of Fame trainer, Bob Baffert. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, and I love that tie. That is one crazy wild tie.
Well, the Oaks is brought to us by Longines, the Derby by Woodford Reserve, but Vineyard Vine's a great friend of the program, so I'm sure they'll appreciate you mentioning it. They provided it to me, so shout out to them. And Bob, you're familiar territory for you, the winner's circle, very familiar to you, 5-time Derby winning trainer. I'm guessing, though, it never gets old to bring a horse, or in this year's case, horses, over to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, this year's been crazy. You know, back in March and April, I was, you know, you could feel the momentum was building, the buzz, the atmosphere, and everything came to a screeching halt. And so now it's like a, you know, something that I just, you know, we're all going through the same thing, but it's just a weird atmosphere. But I think once everybody gets there and finally with the day of the Derby, I think even the Oaks, we're going to feel, you know, we'll start getting some buzz and atmosphere.
Bob, know the Derby Trainer's Dinner, there's a lot of back and forth, and, you know, we have some fun with the questions. I'm actually going to take a shot at myself because I've never gotten a chance to ask you this. I was so against Justify because I thought the Apollo curse could never be broken, and that was your last Derby winner, your 5th of 5 2 years ago, your second Triple Crown winner. And this year with the May Derby, it looked like Nadal and Charlatan might be in the similar boat. How did you do it? How did you break that Apollo curse?
Well, when you have a horse, extraordinary, superior racehorse like Justify, I mean, that's why it happened. He was just, he was the most incredible, he was a beast of an animal as it was. And, you know, the first time I worked him at Santa Anita, I just knew right there, I had a feeling like, man, this guy, and I had Mackenzie at the time, and he was doing really well. And I really thought I was going to win the Derby with Mackenzie. And when he got hurt, it was all up to the big red horse, and he pulled it off.
Authentic and Thousand Words, 2 horses that have really been on our radar since they were 2-year-olds, and similar to Tiz the Law, who's our Derby favorite. Everything old is new again, and here we are, even with the 3-month delay, 2 of the horses that were some of your best late last year.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's been a crazy year, and you know, we were really looking really strong in May, but all of a sudden, you know, the things didn't go, everything went south on us. But Authentic was always, you know, always a top horse, and 1,000 Words was coming around. But then 1,000 Words, he hit a lull there in the middle. He just got sour. He just put a couple of bad races into him, backed off him completely, got him it was all in mental with him. And now he's come back well. He ran well against Uncle Chuck at Los Alamitos. He ran a big race the other day in that little prep. Since he's come to Del Mar, I see a big change in him. He just started to fill out. And that's one thing about the difference in this Derby is that now it's September, so we're seeing more mature horses. And, you know, I've seen Honor AP. He looks like a different horse than he did back in May. You know, he's filling out this big muscular horse. So, you know, we're hitting them more at these horses in their prime, sort of their 3-year-old years. So, you know, it's going to be a tough Derby.
You're not used to being the giant killer, but you mentioned Honor AP, you mentioned the Shared Belief Stakes, and 1,000 Words really dug in to upset the 1-5 favorite there.
Well, he ran a big race, but we knew Honor AP was a little bit vulnerable going a mile and 16th, and he had a sort of a tough trip. But since then, I could see you know, John Sheriff really tightened the screws on him, and sort of what happened to Authentic. You know, I sort of went into the Santa Anita Derby, wasn't really super cranked up. I thought he could just get by it because I'd stopped on him, and he got in all kinds of trouble that day and just had a tough trip and didn't fire. And, you know, he ran second, but he just didn't run his race, and came back. I tightened the screws on him, won the Haskell, I think Mike Smith made it look like a little bit tougher because he sort of relaxed on him a little bit. And that horse he'll shut it down if you don't keep him going, keep his mind on it. But he's come back and he's trained really well. I mean, but he still needs to take that next step forward. I mean, 'tis the law. Right now, he's a man among boys. He definitely, what he's done is they've managed him perfectly. The timing's been perfectly for him, and to win the Derby, that's what you need. You need everything to just go perfect, no hiccups, and he hasn't had a hiccup, and that's what makes him so dangerous.
And later, Bob, we'll get you out of here on this. A high note. We're going to present the trophy virtually to Bill Mott, who won his first Derby after a very long and distinguished Hall of Fame career. And I sort of hinted at this earlier with your 5 wins and as many starters as you have. But what is it like as a trainer to get that trophy and win the sport's ultimate prize?
Well, I mean, it's a great feeling because, especially under the circumstances how he won it, he won the race. He didn't feel the glory, because
Right.
when you see your horse take the lead and he wins, and that's the greatest feeling, is when you win it and you're walking down there and you're just, you can't believe it's happened, and that thing was it was crazy, and so I expect something like that in 2020, and not in 2019, but it's a different probably feeling, I'm sure, you don't want to win that way, but it's one of those things where it's the greatest feeling, just watching your horse come down the lane and hitting the wire in front, and you just can't wait to get back to it. But so it's tough though. I don't think about the ones I've won. I think of the ones that got away. I think I had a few get away from me there, and so I just you train for these. You trying to get everybody that I train for. I just want all my owners to feel that feeling. I want them to feel what it's like to win the Kentucky Derby, what it's like to cross that track and go to that most expensive piece of real estate in the world, down there. And so it's so hard to get there. And but crazy things happen,
That's right.
I've been involved, and so, but you know what? You just, there's no shoulda couldas in this. You just go on with it.
Well, especially in the Derbies, you get that one shot with each crop. So, once that's over, none of those horses can win it again. It was good to hear you mention the losses sting more. That's certainly something as a horse player I can relate to. It's always thrilling to cash the ticket, but man, those bad beats linger.
I know it, and the thing is, that's why we teamed up with Elliott Walden. He had some bad beats, and he ran second to me. And
I was going to say you put the bad beats on him, but he put one on you. So
he put a super bad. He put the worst bad beat on me. So we and then for us to team up with Justify. So we had a lot of fun.
No doubt. Well, I had a lot of fun talking with you, Bob, and Derby Week. Certainly a lot of fun, even with all the preparations. And wish you the best of luck with your pair on Saturday, September 5th.
Well, I want to wish everybody good luck, safe racing, and for those that never been to a Derby before, it's still when you're in the paddock and those horses leave the paddock and they play the Old Kentucky home, I think everybody you'll feel like you're at the Derby.
Thank you, Bob, for your time. A lot of great insight into your 2 horses, and from one Derby winner to another, we're going to be joined next by Jack Knowlton, managing partner of Saratoga Stable. They beat the favorite last time in Empire Maker back in 2003 when they had Funny Side. They're back in 2020 with race favorite 'Tis the Law. Jack, thanks for joining us. Last time you were at the Derby, you were in the upset position. You turned the tables on Empire Maker. 17 years later, you have the horse everyone's looking to upset. What's it like coming with the Derby favorite?
Well, it's a big difference. Funny Side came in under the radar screen. He hadn't beaten Open Company yet, and the price when he won reflected that. He paid $27 and change. With Tiz, it was a situation where he won the Champagne back last October at Belmont and got on everybody's radar screen. other than, a little bump in the road we had in the Kentucky Jockey Club. He's won 4 races this year, 3 Grade 1. So just about everybody has him at the top of the list. And sounds like he's going to be a pretty strong Derby favorite come Saturday.
Yeah, potentially the shortest price since Arazi back in 1992. Sure, you're hoping for a better outcome than Arazi got that day, and a better outcome than you had last time he was at Churchill Downs. What's Manny Franco and/or Barkley Tagg told you about that race and why the Derby should be different from his lone loss?
Well, I think there are a number of things. One, that was only the 3rd race for this horse, and Manny told us when he got off him that night that it was the trip, not the track, that got him beat. Tiz left the gate a little bit slow, and that put Manny in a position where he got stuck inside. And, coming in being 3 to 5, I think that, the jockeys certainly in, Kentucky decided that they weren't going to give him, any quarters. So it was, a tough trip, and it wasn't the kind of trip that, you would expect to win the worst part of the racetrack between horses and all that. Since then, we had a much better outcome in the Holy Bull. Manny looked like maybe he was going to get stuck down inside, and he kind of backed him out and pulled him out around horses. And since then, we've been fortunate enough to get the good trips. I think Manny has all the confidence in the world with this horse now. He knows what to do. Barkley doesn't really have to tell him what to do any longer. Just go out there, try and get position. And Tiz, if you watch his races this year, he leaves the gate like a shot. So it gives Manny a lot of opportunity to kind of place him where he'd like to be.
Yeah, Belmont and Travers, both awesome performances in 2 of our most prestigious races. And Jack, Saratoga seems really loyal. You stuck with Manny even after the loss. You're back here with Barkley, who you were with 17 years ago with Funny Side. Are you going to stay loyal to the school bus company that brought you to your first Derby back in 03?
We tried to do that, but we had 2 phone numbers for him. One was disconnected, and the other one, the woman who answered said, "This isn't the bus company." But we do have school bus lined up, and, if all goes well, we'll be coming over in a school bus on probably both Friday and Saturday.
Very good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun after the race. My editor, Mark Simon, I remember talking to you guys, and he knew it would be a story people would love, you all coming over on the bus. Tiz the Law coming over on plane a day later, though, than some people thought. We'll get a look at him on the track on Wednesday. Any concerns from your camp that you had to wait a day to get that flight to Kentucky?
Well, I think, Barkley, when I spoke with him today, he's just going to miss a day on the track. He's fit. You look at his 2 works since then, and we're in real good shape. There's no question about that. Both works have been, under a minute for 5 furlongs, galloping out in a minute 12 and change. So I think he's ready. Anybody who was concerned that 4 weeks was going to be too short a period between the races, I don't think we have to be concerned with that at all.
No, I agree. It's just run too well all year to think things won't keep clicking along, especially after that workout you referenced in the darkness. That white blaze turning for home was motoring, and you sort of mentioned it, but it sounds like Barkley and company were thrilled with the final tune-up. Yeah,
we were real pleased. We were afraid that we were going to miss that work that morning, and we got lucky that the track was very good that morning. The rains didn't come. Probably about 15 minutes after the work, the rains did come. So we were lucky. We got it in, and I think he's going to be ready to run on Saturday.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing him run. We're looking forward to seeing you here arriving on the bus with all your owners. I know it's going to be another fantastic experience for Saratoga. Really appreciate your time, Jack.
Glad to do it, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Very good. Jack Knowlton, everyone, principal of Saratoga Stable. Been to the winner's circle once before. Looking forward again 17 years later. We're going to look forward to talking more with Derby trainers right after this.
Lady Aurelia down the centre in the white and green colours is going away at the end.
Rachel's Valentina Ratner and takes the lead.
Ed DeRosa DeRosa back at the virtual Trainers Dinner, Kentucky Thoroughbred Association, putting this on as it always does, but similar to everything in 2020, a much different look this year. The Derby pushback, the Trainers Dinner online. In fact, there's no dinner, no drinking either, at least no open bar, but have to think that one of our guests, Dale Romans, is figuring a way around that. He always likes to talk about his whiskey. We also have trainer Patrick Biancone, and Greg Harbert with Necker Island joins us as well in segment number 2. We are going to start with Dale Romans, who comes in here with attachment rate runner-up to Art Collector. And I saw him outside Wagner's. I was actually going to eat. He was doing an interview. Dale, I know you love Derby Week. What's it been like with this subdued, muted environment with no fans around?
You know, the Derby has such deep roots. There isn't the energy that you'll usually see around town Derby Week, but there's not the energy anywhere in the country going on that we have in the past. But I'm surprised at how much media coverage there's been, how many calls for requests for radio, TV, like you saw today, that people are coming in from all angles wanting to discuss the Kentucky Derby. And that shows you how deep the roots are for the Derby in this country for racing.
Now, Dale, I was pretty surprised, to be honest, when I heard you weren't immediately committing to the Derby after what I thought was a pretty good effort at Ellis Park behind the probable second choice in Art Collector. I know you're fully on board now, though. Why'd you want to take a little time before making sure attachment rate was ready for this task?
It wasn't me, as you know. If I got Derby horse, I'm running Derby if it's all left up to me. If I think it's healthy and happy and doing good, I want to show up and give it a shot. But Mr. Baki's a little more conservative, and he just wanted to take a deep breath and sit back and make sure that we weren't rushing in on emotion and that we were doing the right thing by the racehorse. And, you know, somebody went and put on Twitter, way premature, that we were running in the Pat Day Mile. And that, honestly, that was never going to take place. And we were going to skip the Derby, we were just waiting for Preakness. But, you know, he's doing so well, and he deserves a chance to run in the Derby. I think the mile and a quarter will be to his liking. Of course, we all realize that on paper, Tislaw looks unbeatable, but, you know, we've seen other horses that were unbeatable, and that's why we line them up. Anything can happen. If you got a horse healthy, happy, a 3-year-old, and you know wants to get the mile and a quarter, there's too much on the line not to be in there.
That's right. Yeah, $3 million on the line, in particular purse-wise, but obviously the prestige.
You can have the purse money. You can have the purse money. You can run this party. No purse money will show up. It's the prestige of being involved in the longest consecutive running sporting event in the United States. It's the prestige of being involved at the highest level with the best horses, best trainers, best jockeys. And it's the engine that runs our entire industry. You know, everybody says the person, the Derby should be this, should be that. That's all good. It's the biggest race, should have a big purse. But there's nobody that comes into this race worried about how much they're going to make on purse money.
I would say that's for sure. I'm a little interested in maybe making some money in the mutual pool, though. What's attachment rate have to do to find the few lengths that our collector had on him in the Ellis Park Derby? What's the key to turn things around?
I think the biggest key is more pressure up front on horses like our collector. And I think the turning could be the mile and a quarter. You know, we're only one horse in the race that's ever been a mile and a quarter. I'd like to go back in history and find out when a horse started the Derby that had already run a mile and a quarter.
It's, I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but I would think it's pretty rare.
It hadn't happened in my lifetime. It probably hasn't
Right.
these part of the races, but I think that's pretty interesting. You know, that's a horse that has one thing you don't have to worry about. I think he'd have to more Tislaw, so worry about pacing Marion and not getting boxed in and being in that big field. So with a faster pace, a little more pressure with some of these horses up close, and us getting to get the mile and a quarter, which we like, the long stretch of Churchill Downs. And, you know, then it went to the last couple of races. I could get this horse to switch his leads. I didn't know what was wrong, why he wouldn't do it. He was a sound horse. It was mostly mental. The last 2 races, he switched leads, and I think he's drastically improved. And if he can come off the turn at the quarter pole, switch leads, and have a straightaway for a quarter mile on his right lead, he's going to be rolling at the end. It's just going to depend on if anybody backs up in front of him. I mean, he's not going to be way behind, but he'll be there running at the end. I started to call Patrick Biancone, my good friend, and ask him how I get this horse to switch leads. If he hadn't done it the last couple of races, I'm going to have to give Patrick a call.
Well, speaking of Patrick and a trainer who's intimately aware of how good Tiz the Law is, he took a shot against him in the Belmont Stakes, and he's back for more here in the Derby. Patrick Dale had effusive praise for our likely favorite Tiz the Law. I have to think you agree based on what you saw back in June at Belmont Park.
Yeah, it's he was very impressive there. He was very impressive when he ran last time in Saratoga. I'm talking about Tiz the Law. But like Dave said, no horse is unbeatable, and the Derby is so much a prestigious race, and we have a horse who qualified well. Okay, he got one bad run in his life. We're not going to blame him from that. We threw out the race, and I may have not done the right choice running back so quickly after his comeback race, where he was very explosive, and we are freshening up and try to bring in the best we can for the Kentucky Derby. What was the aim of Mr. Reeves when he purchased the horse?
I know you did, think long and hard about whether to try the Belmont or not. And we spoke to Bob in segment 1, and, he said you make mistakes, and in racing, just got to turn the page because there's so many races. Is that what you did in your mind with this horse? You just said, well, that didn't work out, but we have other races to go after and onward, or were you somewhat discouraged?
I've never been discouraged. I mean, the horse don't show up on that day. You have excuse. I think, like I just said, I ran him too quick, especially with the trip. And first time he was flying and everything. We van him this time to come to Louisville, and he traveled much better. He was very happy when he arrived. He was very good on the track this morning.
What's it been like to share this experience with Andy?
But, in fact, it was very strange because when I bought the horse for her, it was to have her to understand how much a horse can cost and how much it costs to maintain and how expensive is it for the owner. Teach her. I said, if I buy you a horse, you will see exactly how much it costs. Even if you don't pay me, I mean, you will only pay if you win something, but I want to show you how much it costs. And it was not a great success on that side because the horse had never stopped to make money for her since he started to run, but it's a good experience to do that in family. And
you've been here before, and one name that sticks out is Lionheart. Really gave Smarty Jones all he could handle in the Derby. What was it like as a trainer rooting a horse who had a legitimate look of maybe being the winner at the 8th pole in the Derby?
Yeah, it was, like you said, it was very interesting. But Lionheart, it's very difficult to compare these two horses because Lionheart was a front runner, he took the lead and he just dropped the lead at the end. And Sole Volante, he will fly home at the end, we know that. And hopefully he's with plenty of space in front and go through the crowd without trouble, like we'll have done Calvin Borel, and and we see what happens.
All right. Well, appreciate your time, Patrick. And a theme from both trainers we've heard from here in segment 2 is Tiz the Law, obviously a deserving favorite, but it is the Derby. It is horse racing. Anything can happen. And one of the horses taking a shot, but certainly coming in, going the right way off the claim and based on his finish at Indiana Grand and Ellis Park is Necker Island. And Greg, you're here with the long shot chance, but with Miguel Mena up, good rider who knows the surface, and have to think Chris Hartman's excited about your opportunity here.
Yeah, Chris Hartman's definitely excited. Myself and Raymond Daniels and Wayne Sher, the other 2 co-owners of the horse, we're very excited to be here. We do realize that we are a long shot in this race, but we have a great deal of respect for Tiz the Law and some of the other key contenders. But we are going into this race expecting to make some noise and possibly have a say in this race.
A lot of times when we talk about sales price, we're talking about when the hammer falls at Keeneland or Fasig-Tipton. In Necker Island's case, it's a $100,000 claim, which is already looking pretty solid. It is on the high level of claims we're used to seeing. What goes into the conversation at the 6-figure level for a claim that made you decide, hey, let's take a shot with this horse at a big tag?
Well, that's a good question. As you stated, $100,000 isn't necessarily the most average claim price. But when you look at a horse, he commanded $250,000 as a yearling. So obviously he had the pedigree and confirmation to match that price tag. The horse had a lot of buzz about him as a 2-year-old, and as a 3-year-old. Why he didn't win a lot of races, he certainly didn't duck or dodge anyone, and ran some pretty good even races. We have the utmost respect for Stanley Huff as a trainer, but we just thought with a new set of eyes on the horse and possibly figuring a few things out with the horse, we could possibly keep him at that same level, or with the hopes of moving him up, which I think Chris Hartman and his team have done a good job of progressing the horse forward.
Dale talked about, still some buzz. Obviously, we won't have a lot of people here at the track, but media requests and such. And seeing your name already a little bit, what's the Derby spotlight been for your partnership group?
It's been great for us. We're a small partnership, so I think it highlights that you don't necessarily have to be a sheik or a member of the royal family to get involved in this game and have a lot of fun. So what I hope that this does is bring attention to partnerships and more of the smaller ownership groups to want to get involved in our great industry.
What are you one of the fortunate few who gets to be here on Saturday?
Yeah, unless protocol was changed, Churchill has extended it a small number of tickets to the ownership group, and I plan on being here to see this edition of the Derby.
Have you been to previous Derbies at all?
I have. I've been to the last 5. Unfortunately, the last couple have been very bad weather conditions. Looks like this is going to be a great addition for weather.
Dale or Patrick, any advice for a first-time Derby entrant goer?
I would say come enjoy every minute of it. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good that goes along with it. Don't get too stressed, and don't let the media guide what you do. Do what you do and have a good time with it.
We'll try our hardest to tell them what to do. I think there's still time to go in the Pat Day Mile, Dale.
I would recommend one thing for you guys. Subtitles for Patrick.
Dale's got his Woodford. Patrick's looking for a Stella. Greg is looking for a Mum Mimosa. I'm going to go get an Old Forester during this break, but when we get back, the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association Trainers Dinner continues with more trainers and more fun. Stay with us.
I was born in 1930 and have seen a lot of changes in my time. Service to the land, the people, that hasn't changed. We've been fortunate that we have fed 13 of the last 23 Derby winners. Resilient, strong-willed, uncompromising when it comes to quality. After all we have to sell is service.
We're back. Kentucky Thoroughbred Association's Trainer Dinner. Sans the dinner, but plenty of good conversation as always, and pleased to be joined by our next set of Kentucky Derby trainers, Juan Avila, Greg Foley, and Mark Casse. And all three are looking for their first Derby win. We've talked to some trainers who are fortunate enough to be in that winner's circle. These three would, one of these three could join them on Saturday. First, the trainer of King Guillermo. And Juan, as I told Bob earlier, a lot of give and take at this trainers dinner, and I'm willing to take some punishment here. I've been really curious about the 4-month layoff with King Guillermo. I'm dubious that it can get the job done on September 5th. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Conociendo mi caballo, es la mejor forma de que él haga su mejor performance de esa manera como lo hizo en Tampa. Y pienso que ahorita está mejor.
¿Qué es la manera?
Para mí,
That for him
es la mejor manera
is the best form
de que él haga su mejor carrera.
for him to do his best race.
Así lo hizo en Tampa
And he did like that in Tampa.
y ahora está mejor.
And now he's better.
You're one of the owners involved is Victor Martinez, and I'm from Cleveland, so big Indians fan myself. Would be awesome to see him get that trophy. It seems like ball players like horse racing as well. What's it been like to work with Victor and get a horse to the Derby for him?
Mira, es algo increíble, dile, porque
It's something incredible because
y más cuando él me dijo que le compraron un caballo para ganar el Kentucky Derby y me pareció una ridiculez, pero pasó así.
and more when Victor told him that he wanted a horse to win the Kentucky and he thought he was crazy.
And Sammy Camacho up, you're sticking with your guy from Tampa. Do you have any instructions you're going to give him on Derby Day, or is it up to him once he's on the track?
Que tenga confianza, que tiene un caballo que está a la altura de ellos, de lo que va a correr, y que no agarre tropiezos, sino que cuando él diga vamos, vamos.
And that he will tell him that he needs to be confident and when racing, and because he knows that his horse is at the level of the rest, and that
Que cuando él diga vamos, vamos.
And when he says, let's go, let's go.
Well, Juan Avila, we know your horse is going to be a little closer to the pace, and another trainer, actually both of the next two we're going to talk to, they probably don't have to worry as much about where they are relative to the pace, just hoping there is pace. Greg Foley has Major Fed, another horse coming in off a layoff, not quite to King Guillermo's length, but Greg, what went into the decision to train this horse up to the Derby from the Indiana Derby?
Yeah, Indiana Derby, it was a really hot day and tough racetrack. He got squeezed at the start and had to make up a lot of ground. And he ran a very hard race, ran a good second. I think he, a little better racing luck, we could have won the race. But coming out of the race, it toughed him up just a little bit, and not bad, but I could tell it just a little bit. And to squeeze the Ellis Park race in between it and the Derby, I just thought was going to be too much, and just wanted to have him as good as I could have him for next Saturday.
I have to think being by Go Sapper, not too much of a concern about the added furlong.
He'll love the mile and a quarter mile horse.
Talked a lot with trainers so far, and Juan mentioned it. Derby, all about shared experiences. Saratoga with their big group, and Juan with Victor. And Bob Baffert mentioned, even though he's won it 5 times, he thinks every one of his owners, and he wants to win it for them. What's it been like to share these last couple weeks with your sons?
Well, it's going to just make it that much more exciting. They're more excited than I am. I think they're
on the muscle on social media.
Oh yeah,
sure.
yeah. They wear that out for you, but that makes it that much more exciting. And that just hope our horse shows up and runs a big race.
What's the reception for you been as sort of a local being able to bring a horse to the Kentucky Derby?
I've had a lot of calls and wishing you good luck, and we got a pretty good rooting section over here. And I wish Tommy luck. Yeah, he's his training center, Sky Lake Training Center, is about 5 miles from my home here in Oldham County, and that he's got a nice horse.
A lot of times we talk about the pace in terms of who's going to be in front of who, and I'll tip my hand to my first question for Mark after I ask you, but you think you'll be in front of Enforceable early, or what's the plan in terms of how far back you want to be with Major Fed?
I just want to get a good start. Just leave, he's spotted fields, Louisiana Derby, Indiana Derby, he got away bad, and just the Louisiana Derby, lost that race the first jump out of the gate, and made up 20-some lengths. You can't do that in any race, much less a Kentucky Derby. But Mark's horse runs a lot off the pace like my horse. Who will be in front of who? I hope I'm in front of him at the wire. That's all.
Have you talked to James yet about when you expect him to ask the question, so to speak?
Yeah, we've talked. Again, just we want to have some good racing luck, get away clean, and get a good spot. And from a 3/8 pole to the quarter pole, kick him in gear a little bit and have him running down the last quarter of a mile. Hopefully have somewhere to go with him.
All right, Greg, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun watching the journey through your son's eyes anyways. As you said, they're pretty excited. They brought us the sights and sounds via social media at Foley Racing on Twitter. So appreciate your time. And Mark, you've had a few seconds, I guess, to think about it. How far back is Enforceable going to be? Where would you like to see him early in the race?
Greg and I are in the same spot. I'm not really all that worried about it. The key is we need some pace. We need pace. Well, it really doesn't matter where we're sitting. We need pace. Our horse is the same way. He wants to get away a little slow, which obviously going a mile and a quarter isn't quite as important. We just need pace, and the quicker the pace, the farther back we'll be. and the better.
Now, usually we don't have our usual hundreds turning into thousands in the mornings watching the works, but what few are here have been pretty effusive about what they've seen from Enforceable in the morning. What have you seen with your own eyes? What's the barn told you? Sounds like he might be the talking horse, at least to the morning workers this past week.
Yeah, you know what? To me, he looks extremely well. Obviously, I haven't been there, but I get plenty of videos, and he's a much better horse than he was for the Louisiana Derby, and a much better horse than he was in the Bluegrass. He's come along very well. He was a tired horse at the Louisiana Derby, so it took almost 2 months to get him back even to training, and he's come around really well. I thought maybe he was 80% for the Bluegrass, 85%, but I think he's ready. I don't know I don't know where we fit in, to be honest, Ed. You know, there's some strong horses in this race, and how good is our horse? Does he fit in? All I can tell you is he's ready.
Is there a different feeling? As you know, 4 years ago, I was pretty much all in on your charge, who I thought is probably the best of his crop, even though it didn't work out. What's the pressure situation between bringing a horse over like Classic Empire champion 2-year-old versus this one who might have some questions based on his spring form?
Well, night and day. Classic Empire, you know, put us through hell. And I still think he was the best horse in the Derby. He got wiped out in the first 100 yards. So I know that can happen. This is twice now. We had Classic Empire and then War of Will last year.
Yeah.
You need some luck, and nobody's a sure thing in the Kentucky Derby because it can all be over in the first 50 or 100 yards. So, you know, we need some luck. Not bad luck, but some good luck, and maybe some others to have a little not so great luck.
You're local as well to the Louisville area, and haven't been able to get this one. A lot of Canadian classics, added the Preakness and Belmont last year. What would this prize mean to your resume, even after so many other Grade 1 wins?
This is the cherry on top. You know, I've been very fortunate in my career, and one thing's eluded me. And this is it. I think if we could pull this off, I'll say I've done all I wanted to set out to do in my training career.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the same as Mark. It's the biggest horse race in the world ever. I don't care what anybody says. The Derby, you dream of it from day one if you're a horse trainer, horse owner, and I couldn't imagine the feeling if your horse come across there first.
It is the sport's biggest prize, and 3 trainers who have certainly accomplished a lot, but the Derby yet to be in their trophy case. So we wish you guys a lot of luck. Really appreciate your time. And this has been the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association's Trainers Dinner. We'll be right back. Back at the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association Trainers Dinner, and as per tradition, in addition to looking ahead to this year's Derby, we look back and award last year's winning trainer with the Kentucky Derby Trainer Trophy for Conditioners, and this one from 2019 goes to Bill Mott. And Bill, been around a few Derbies. I know a popular question every year is, why haven't you won the Derby? You went through it a lot of years, Todd Pletcher, many others. You finally added that Derby trophy to your trophy case. Congratulations.
I probably wanted to wait until it was one of the most interesting outcomes in the history of the Kentucky Derby. So we had a long wait, but we finally got there.
You did indeed. And I know you didn't get to experience the win in the moment under the wire like everyone else to date, but when did it soak in that, okay, we are the winner? Was it in the winner's circle? Was it doing the interview? Did it take a few weeks for it to sink in? What was that experience like for you?
I think it took a few days. I mean, I realized it actually happened, but it just sort of seemed like it was a little bit surreal, you know, the way it happened. And probably the reason for that was we were so excited, just the fact that our horse Country House had run so well. I mean, he crossed the wire. He ran a terrific race, and you know, under the circumstances that it happened, of course, you know, he probably never got the credit that he really deserved, probably, for such a really, really good race that he ran on that particular day.
One of the themes we've heard from everyone not associated with Tis the Law this year is it's the Derby. Anything can happen. You really persevered with Country House. You ran them in the races to get the points to get in the Derby. What would your advice be for those connections that may be staring down the barrel of a longer priced horse and going after a possible monster in Tis the Law?
Well, you know, I guess in our case, we had a horse that was a little bit of a big backward horse, and he was on the improve every race. You could see him coming along each race. He learned a little more. And, you know, we had no crystal ball. We didn't know he was going to run such a powerful race on Derby Day. But when they left the gate, he was up in the race, and he was, you know, he was in a stalking position rather than being such a, you know, ordinarily we thought he was a deep closer. And on that particular day, he put himself up in the race. And I mean, he was ready to go whenever the rider asked him. And he put in a magnificent run through the stretch, and we were just so proud of him. And then, of course, when they hung the inquiry and the claim of foul up, when the jockey lodged the objection against the winner, we were like, well, what now? I mean, we didn't know. We just waited for 23 minutes until they changed the numbers on the board, and it seemed like, did this really happen? And anybody that's got a long shot in there, I guess, has to realize that, you know, a horse can jump up and run a terrific race on any given day. And that's what Country House did. He ran a terrific race on Derby Day, and, you know, they've got to bring it on the right day. And he most certainly did.
Now, is the trophy there with you now, or is that still en route?
The trophy is right here.
There it is.
This is
awesome.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a beautiful trophy, and thank you very much. I'm very honored to be able to hold this trophy and be, you know, and I've got to say that I'm so proud of our whole crew, everybody that had anything to do with this. I mean, the people that touched Country House from the beginning, from the date he was foaled through the time that he walked into the winner's circle in the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. I mean, it was, you know, there's a lot of people that had something to do with it that were influential in him winning that race. I mean, it's not just me. I just happen to be the one that gets to hold the trophy at this present time and represent everybody. But I can't say enough for everybody that helped out with him.
Well, it is Derby week, so we can't resist asking you what's on everyone's mind. Who do you like?
You know, it's pretty difficult, quite difficult to get by Tis the Law. I think he's been improving every race. He looks like he's more professional. He looked spectacular in his last run, and if he's training into this race the way he trained into the last one, I'd say he's going to be very tough to beat. And of course, you know, he's just a very talented horse. Barclay Tagg has been there once before, and so he knows how to get the job done. He's a great horseman, and he's had a wonderful career, and I think you know, I'm sure he'd love to chalk up another Derby.
I'm sure, and you as well down the road if the right horse comes along. But really appreciate your time, Bill. I know you've waited a while for this one in particular, and hope you enjoy it, and congratulations.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, everybody. Thank you.
We'll do Racing Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. He's won a ton, and he finally added the Kentucky Derby to his resume. Congratulations to him. And as he said, his whole team, definitely more than one person's job to get these horses to the races. And it's been our pleasure to talk all these horses with you at the Derby Trainers Dinner. Still more to come, though, with information from other connections of Derby contenders. Please stay with us.
The inside draw of 4-hole is not a bad draw, same draw that he had when he won the Breeders' Cup. So it's, hopefully it's a good lucky spot. Let him run out of there and see what everybody else is doing. We don't want to get shuffled back way too far. He's a horse that kind of likes to be up and involved. And the 1.25 miles, we'll see how that goes. I think he should like it. His dad seemed to like it.
It's pretty apparent that the horse will probably go to the lead. Johnny's suited to ride a horse like that. It appears that there's other speed in there, but hopefully he's fast enough to hold his speed for 1.25 miles.
Juan Carlos really happy about the pose. So, we're just hoping and praying for a good and clean race out of him.
Does it change tactics being down inside, or just not ideal for his tactics?
Well, I think it does as far as how aggressive you have to be early. You just, like I said, it'll be that much more important to get a good jump from the gates and make adjustments from an advantageous position.
That's going to do it for the first ever virtual Kentucky Derby Trainers Dinner. Really appreciate everyone's time and giving their perspective on the road to Derby 146. And hopefully by now you have a favorite. A lot of trainers made their case. And if your mind is made up, the place to go to place your bet is the TwinSpires app. And they have a $200 sign-up offer just for you. All you need to do is put in GET200, and you'll be on your way to a Kentucky Derby bet. Watch, wager, enjoy. It's been a lot of fun. Good luck.
Sports look different this year, like Derby in the summer. While you're celebrating the fastest 2 minutes in sports at home, TwinSpires is your ticket to the Kentucky Derby. Bet on the Derby and do it all from your mobile device. Use code GET200 to start earning your $200 new player bonus when you join TwinSpires today. The fun, fast, and easy way to bet on the Kentucky Derby. TwinSpires, the official wagering partner of the Kentucky Derby. Download the app today.